Well, like I said, I would like to begin with saying that I don't vividly remember my childhood days or my infancy days, for which I would like to blame my mom for not giving me enough soaked almonds to better my memory, for which she tries to compensate now by giving me more than I should have. Well, jokes apart, Mom, if you're watching this, TED, then know that I love you. But yeah, hi everyone, I'm Ekta, and I'm a mental health influencer and a relationship coach, and it's been over a decade since I am creating mental health content. I've been in the mental health industry, and nothing brings me more joy than, doing and adding value to people's life. Having said that, like I said, it's not been a very smooth sail for me. And though I don't remember my childhood infancy days, but I do remember a few incidences during my college, during my school, that shaped me into who I am today. I would like to share a little story about what really shaped my confidence. And like I said, I don't remember my infancy days, but a few incidences from my school, my college, that shaped me, shaped my confidence. And when I say that, one of those incidences were during, my post-graduation, when we were asked to do presentations for psychology theory and statistics. We all have presentations during our college times, right? We had one of those. And during a presentation, because we were asked to do that, I was tormented by the fact that I have to present myself out to people. And for someone like me who had zero self-esteem, zero confidence, though I look very bubbly, happy, chirpy, but if I have to go out and speak to someone or even strike a conversation with someone, it used to haunt me, and I could never muster up the courage to do so. So every presentation has these mock-ups, right? We all have mock-ups that we have to do. We have to prep for the presentations. So every time we would have practice sessions, I would just give my best. I would do everything that is possible to present myself, look good, speak good, all of it, only to see disappointment in the eyes of my co-presenter. She would be like, really, this is all that you had? And that's when I realized that self-confidence is actually the only key you require to look, feel, and be successful in your life. Clearly, that was the key which I had lost. The only thing that I had was the lock with me. And I had to find the key with me, right? I had to find the key to be confident. So, having said that, episodes like these shaped me into who I am. Episodes like these added on to my childhood misery that I am not good enough, I don't have great skills to present to the world, I have nothing great, extraordinary things to add value to. And how many of you feel underconfident right now that you don't have great skills with you and you really need to work on yourself? Raise your hand. A lot of you. Don't worry, you will come to a better stage very soon. But having said that, I always had people around me who were talented, smart, witty, spontaneous, outdoing themselves, and I would always question myself that what if I say something and look stupid and foolish in front of people? What if I end up being alone? What if I don't have enough friends in my life? Not that I didn't have parents who would back me up. They were inclusive, they were supportive, they were encouraging. Despite of having a great family support system, I was underconfident, and I realized that sometimes it's not to do with your family, but it's also to do with your other circumstances that shapes your confidence. And for me, it was to do with my peers. It was to do with my school and college days, where I had my friends who would slyly bully me, and they would mock me, make fun of me, a lot of things like that. And it made me into a people pleaser that I became. And having said that, it took me long time. I used to think that why am I not approving of myself? Why am I not really that confident that I could not even strike a conversation with anyone? I couldn't even speak up in front of my family of 5. I couldn't do that either. And that's when I realized that actually got me into this whole space, that there are 5 parameters which defines your confidence. So if you are feeling underconfident, then these are the 5 things that could be responsible. Number 1 is to do with your negative self-talk. I have a question to ask. How many of you have been through a breakup anytime in your life? Raise your hand. Oh, you are the first one to actually raise your hand. I can feel the heartbreak. Oh my God. Raise your hand if you've ever been through a breakup. Ever. It's okay, you can just raise your hand. Yeah. Well, me too, by the way. And the first thing that we do once you go through a heartbreak, a breakup, is open Spotify and listen to Arijit songs, sad songs. Is that true? Have you guys ever done that? Reason, because we guys are chronic sadists. We love misery. We love to be sad. If you know, we've been through something which is so painful, the first thing we do is we listen to the sad songs and we make ourselves all the more miserable. So, negative self-talk is actually one of the most influential factor that defines our confidence, that how do I speak to myself was too important. And I was constantly telling myself that I'm not good, I'm not that great, I don't have enough confidence to be out there in public or even in front of few set of people. Which then takes me to the second most important factor, that is past failures and childhood trauma. Though there were not big traumas that I had been through during my college times or my school times, but yet there were certain past failures that shaped me, which got me into the third parameter which defines our self-confidence, which is social comparison. You know, thanks to social media, that has made it all the more easier for us to open Instagram or Facebook or any social media platform where we start comparing ourselves with others. But we forget the fact that what we see outside is just a good part of people's life. We don't see the misery that they're going through unless they come out and speak about it. But the first thing that we do, if you open Instagram, you see your friend, holidaying somewhere, you start feeling bad for yourself. That, I am here, not having fun. Look at this friend of mine having fun, having a very nice chill time in Bali, and here I am. So what do? We compare ourselves to others, and that sort of puts our confidence down. Which takes me to the fourth most, another important factor, which is perfection. You know, I've been brought up by a father who's been perfect in everything that he's done. So it always had put an indirect pressure on me that I had to be perfect in whatever I do. And this is what happens with us. You know, when we strive for perfection, we set this benchmark for ourselves, and no matter how hard we try, even if we want to reach here, and some days when we don't, we bash ourselves. How many of you have ever done that? Raise your hand. That you've bashed yourself for not being good enough, that I've not been perfect. All of it. It's because we constantly strive for perfection, and because we strive for perfection, we completely lower down our confidence, which then takes me to the fifth parameter, which is lack of skills, which is legit. Now, of course, if you have to present yourself and you don't have enough skills, and of course you're going to question yourself, you will not have the confidence. But the good news is that all these 5 parameters are workable factors. Not that you can't work on these, not that these are out of your control. These are workable factors. And when I got to know that these are the 5 parameters, why I was constantly low on my confidence, I couldn't speak to my friends also, that I when my friends would plan something, I could never come out and tell them that I have this idea, I feel like doing this, I feel like how about we go here or we go on a holiday. I couldn't even speak up for that. And that made me realize that if I can't speak up even with friends, the set of friends that I have, the so-called friends that I had, even if I couldn't speak up to them, how am I going to go out and speak in the outer world when I have to expose myself out there? And that's when I came to this most influential secret and hack that made me the most confident person I am today. And the first secret is, if you want to be confident, here's what you got to do. Repetition, repetition, repetition. There is there is no substitute to repetition, persistency and consistency. Well, of course, they are the same eggs of same hatch, but yet if you repeat yourself in whatever you're doing, you're going to excel in that, right? If you have this one chapter, you need to just keep repeating and learning from it. At one point of time, you're going to be prepared in that, in whatever you do, in that specific chapter of yours. And this is what happens with, if you expose yourself constantly in, to uncomfortable situations, time and again, that's how you become confident. So one of the way to be confident is expose yourself, go out and expose yourself to uncomfortable situations. Which then brings me to last year, when I'd been for a Cosmopolitan Bloggers Award where I was nominated. And during that time I felt like Anushka Sharma from Sui Dhaga landed directly to a page 3 fashion party. Seriously, I felt like that because I didn't have the confidence, because I saw everyone outdoing themselves, looking great, presenting themselves, and everyone being at the top of their game. And here I was questioning my ability. I was questioning myself all over again that how average and mediocre I am. I don't have extra skills just like these guys. And that's when I recalled that it's about repeating myself to an uncomfortable situation. A lot of people say that things get better with time. Things don't get better with time. You don't get comfortable with time. It's just that when you expose yourself to uncomfortable situation time and again, once when it was your uncomfortable zone became your comfort now. So what you do is you just start expanding your comfort zones. And that's what I did. I told myself that, Ekta, you have to be out there. So last year, like I said, of course, during the Cosmo India Awards, I was definitely there. I pushed myself to present myself as best I can, and I owned who I was. Even if that means being Anushka Sharma from Sui Dhaga, I was who I was. So I owned myself, and that brings me to the second most important secret that shapes your self-confidence, that is learning from your losses. You have to learn from your losses, and that's what I learned. Go back to the period when you think that you haven't been perfect, or maybe you've been speaking negative of yourself, or maybe you thought that you weren't good enough. Learn from those past mistakes. And I learned from how I was treated during my school or my college days. I learned from those past mistakes, and I told myself that enough, I am not going to take something which will put me down. And these past failures and past experiences, they helped me in learning about my blind spots. They helped me into becoming a better version of myself. So learn from your past mistakes, learn from what experiences that you've had. Even if it means that they were sour experiences, but it's going to shape you into who you are. Which then brings me to the third most important secret if you really want to be confident, that is self-affirmation. When I say self-affirmation, let me give you a fact. The fact is that your brain cannot differentiate between perceived reality and actual reality. Say for example, you have an exam coming up, okay? And you keep telling yourself that, I'm not prepared, I'm going to fail, I'm not going to make up this time, or I don't think I'll be able to do it. Guess what? You won't, because that's what you told yourself. But when you change your narratives inside your head, that's when things change for you. And this self-affirmation was a game changer for me. It helped me become a better version, because I kept telling myself that even if I have to expose myself to uncomfortable situation, I will. If that means that I have to learn from my past mistakes, I will. If that means that I have to embrace imperfections, I will. And I will own it. So a lot of things in terms of self-affirmation changed me. I told myself that it's time for me to change my mental narratives about myself. That what people think of me is just their perception, not mine. But how do I define myself is very, very important. And that reminds me of a very beautiful mini epiphany that I had once, that says that confidence depends upon how you rate yourself. And then during my school and college times, I was clearly rating myself in minus if not zero, and that was constantly putting down my confidence. So rate yourself. Even if your friend doesn't like you, rate yourself that I am good enough, I do have certain skills in me that I can outdo it. Because every single person, each one of you has something which is unique in yourself. So even if you feel underconfident in something, own it and see what can you do about it. Which then brings me to the fourth most important, secret that shapes your confidence. That is, celebrate your victories. A lot of times we don't celebrate ourselves. We don't celebrate our wins. So say if you had 3 to-dos for the day, and out of 3 you just ticked off 2. Give yourself a pat on the back. We are so hard on ourselves all the time that we look at that one task that you haven't done, but you'll overlook those 2 that you finished. So give yourself a pat on the back. When I say celebrate, celebration does not mean that you have to go out and party. It could be as simple as making yourself a nice cup of coffee and enjoying, giving yourself a free time. It could be as simple as having a nice chat with your friend, doing something that you love. Celebrate yourself, as simple as that. Which then brings me to the last, and you all need to listen to this, that the last but topmost secret of self-confidence is surround yourself with people who bring the best out of you and not the worst out of you. So choose your tribe wisely, because it's said that your vibe depends upon the tribe that you have. And like we all know that we are an average of 5 people we spend most time with. So see around yourself, what kind of people do you have? Are they putting you up, or are they putting you down? Have people who make you feel accountable. If you have friends, you have family who's constantly putting you down, questioning your abilities, that's what you're going to do. So have someone who pushes you to better yourself. Which reminds me of a very beautiful quote by Christina Grime, and she says that confidence is not they will like me, but confidence is I am fine even if they don't like me. And this is the attitude you need to own. But that does not mean that you harm someone in this entire journey of confidence. It's just that you own who you are. You become the better version of yourself, and every single day you excel as much as you can. So not every day you're going to be at the top of your game. Not every day it's going to be a smooth sail. Some days you will find it difficult to take even one single stride, and some days it's going to be easy for you to just sail through. But what matters is that you stop looking for validation outside. You validate yourself. See what kind of mental narration that you have. What are you telling yourself? How are you speaking to yourself? If your friend is behaving or maybe has done something wrong, you're going to be nice to that friend of yours, and you're going to explain that friend of yours nicely. But when we do something wrong or something which is not acceptable as per you or your standards or your belief systems, we bash ourselves black and blue. Be nice and kind to yourself. And like I said, from someone being in the doldrums of tarnished confidence, where my friends would bully me, mock me, make fun of me, where I couldn't speak up in front of people, to today being able to speak up and own who I am and be confident in who I am, and strike conversations however, wherever I am. If I can do it, so can you. So don't let someone else define your worth, but it's only you who can do it. Thank you so much, and have a great day ahead.